To renewable, to politics, renewable heating and gas. Once again, episode number 5. Today we've got a special guest. Andrew is here Andrew Cunningham, who I've only recently met, but have already had a fantastic discussion with, and we've met up and even sat in a restaurant, which we didn't order anything, and had some orange juice.
It's true.
Yeah.
While the game was, we were wondering about the game, weren't we? The football.
Whilst we were trying to work out whether we were going to watch the football, yeah. Did you manage to catch the game at all afterwards?
I did. I went to a travel lodge, so I got
Right.
I got in. Well, just to let people know what we were doing. We were up in Birmingham, weren't we? So the installer show. So I was in this crappy little hotel called the Gables, which is right on the edge of Birmingham Airport. So I went in there and said, "Oh God, have you got any food?" Anyway, they pointed me to the travel lodge down the road. So I went to travel lodge, and they did food amazingly.
Yes.
Thank God, and they had football there. So there was about 10 blokes, I guess, who parked their trucks and things. So we watched a bit of footy
That's
and
fantastic.
had some food.
And remind me, as I'm a non interested person within football, who was playing? It was England versus.
I don't even know. It was England versus. It was terrible. What was it? That's how much as I know. What was it? Slovenia or something.
Yes.
I don't even know. I was just, I
Did
am
we
a
win?
very light English fan.
Right. Yeah. I'm the same. So, we, like you said, we were up in Birmingham. We were actually there the day before the installer show. The installer show is a 3-day event, which is aimed mostly at installers of heating systems, but it's actually expanded to include plumbers and electricians. And it's a 3-day event where all the different technologies, tools, talks, so much is going on there. And that was Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. And the day before that, the day before that would be Monday. That was the first time I'd ever gone to something called an unconference. Yeah, you heard me right, unconference. And this was about how we can hit our first 1 million heat pumps to be installed in the UK. I think within England and Wales, just because that's how
we're not
politics
gonna
work.
we're not gonna
Yeah.
squibble on the borders.
Yeah. No, that's good. So what I want to know, Andrew, is first I would like to know a bit about you. What made you get involved with this organization, or this conference, the unconference, and just a little bit about your journey through life to be able to get to that point where we met.
Sure. Well, I came through becoming a retrofit coordinator and a retrofit assessor. That's how I got into this sort of the heating world, as it were. So I trained to be that. So to do EPCs, which was an interesting job to do, actually, to go around houses and look at houses and talk to people. And it's a fairly brief relationship, but you do get into houses and start thinking and looking at what they've got. And then I went further with this thing called a retrofit coordinator, which enables me to dish out the grant when there were grants, home grants and things like that for heating or insulation. So I did that for a couple of years. I went in London and South London. So again, learning about talking to people and what do they want, what don't they want, and also obviously some technical aspects of energy and temperatures and all that kind of stuff. So that was pretty good, but not quite the deal for me, because I was very motivated, still am, to cut carbon, and that's quite a lot of time. People are still burning gas. So it seemed very clear to me that we've got to stop burning gas and not faffing around too much with, should we one day, get rid of the gas boiler and in 10 years or all this kind of stuff. So I very much felt that I ought to get into heat pumps. And so I spent a good year and a half with a chap called Peter Miller, who's Conga. He's in Ipswich.
Yeah.
And he installed a heat pump for me, which was great. but I learned a lot from him, and we worked sort of conspired together on lots of ideas and innovations, and I generally connected to him. And then it was his idea to do this unconference, which was quite daunting because who am I? I'm just this little chap in South
Yeah.
London, So, but what? So so it was Peter Miller and Congo really, and then the unconference is quite an interesting concept because you don't have set speakers, you don't have a set agenda. You literally just turn up on the day and you make it up. You do little post-it notes, as you saw, and we had up to 15 sessions where you talk about anything to do with how to get to the first million heat pumps. So I think it's quite refreshing because you're not just sitting listening to the same guys from Bays or Desnes or whatever, the heat pump, blah, 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 so telling you, so everyone has a chance to speak, everyone has a chance to put an idea, and you also have hopefully a mix of people. So installers, very much looking for installers involved, like yourself, people transitioning from gas to heat pumps, and also sort of more academic types, and sort of consultant types, and government and policy and stuff. So it was a good chance to mix. So amazingly, there's this brilliant place called Energy Systems Catapult, which I still makes me smile. But they've got big offices in Birmingham, and they immediately said, yes, do it. So it was we did it last year, and we did it again this year. So we had about 60 people, and again, as I say, it's you make it up on the day. You could get together, and then split up with groups.
It was my first time. I mean, you've only been doing it 2 years, and hopefully they'll continue, because I'd love to go back. I really enjoyed myself.
Right.
The thing that I really enjoyed just walking in the beginning was everyone got a chance to introduce themselves, and you use just 3 words to try and talk about the topic that they wanted to think about. And my topic that I said in those 3 words, actually, I had no interest in it by the end of the day because there was so much else going on that took away my attention from it. And I was amazed by the wide range of things that were going to be spoken about. The things that I felt that I was able to join in was to do with installers and training, and how do we get more people interested, and the cost of the heat pumps came up. But then there was, like you say, policy was a big part of it, how we talk to government. There were things that I had never even really considered, like finance. Like that's a bit far away from my perspective of heat pumps. And so I really, really thought it was very eye-opening. Really, my only issue with it was I don't see a way how the people within that room forced anyone to. I mean, me, I think because I led the meeting, it's my idea. But I think actually Sam Duke might have said it instead.
Sam Duke of Adia Thermal, isn't it?
Yes,
startup doing interesting things.
Who I'm meeting with in a week or two.
Okay.
He, I think it was him who said that at the moment electricity is pegged at 4 times the price of gas or thereabouts, and all we need to do is peg it at 10% the price of gas, and then even the worst installed heat pump would be more efficient, not just efficient to run, but more cheaper to run. And so that's a great idea. And then there's no one in the room where you can say, we've got this great idea, and every single person in the UK is going to install these heat pumps.
That's it. Well,
that was frustrating.
Yeah, it is very frustrating, and the thing is, it isn't one person. So there wouldn't be one person in. You couldn't get just one person in the room and tell them. I mean, they know. This thing. They all know what we need to do. I say they. So we're talking about what used to be Bays and Desnes. The so-called the spark gap. The difference, the ratio between electric and gas.
Right.
Everyone knows it. Everyone knows it. So that's the frustrating thing. So you couldn't, even if you tried to put somebody in the hot seat and say, look, we want this, they would be powerless because of so many committees and so many political constraints, etc., etc. So it is frustrating, and this is why when you get people together, we try and a large aspect of it is kind of, in a way, making your peace with each other, because you've got consultants and you've got business and you've got this, and sort of understanding each other. As opposed to necessarily saying, look, this is a great idea, why don't you do it? Because it's just that's not the way the world works. It would be great. So yes, it's good to get agreement. So, I mean, it's no surprise, for instance, in that room, would everyone agree that, yes, we need to get the electric price down? Yes. And everyone knows that. So it's more like, what other areas can we get agreement on? So I'll give you an example where there's incremental shift. So there has been traditionally this idea that you have to insulate your house first. Even Chris Skidmore, who's this sort of hero Tory, who's given up his job and laid his job on the line, and done his whole fantastic net zero review and everything. He was at the installer show. Even he, when he was making a speech, was saying, yes, well, of course, we do need to insulate in order to put a heat pump in. So, there's still a bit of work to do on that. And you've got a lot of people, the so-called retrofit, people from the retrofit world, and particularly passive house people and architects. So there's still quite a lot of learning or agreement to get to on that. So sometimes there are areas where the group can actually get a better consensus. And that, for instance, the fabric first concept is understanding that, and how we've moved through that is an important thing. So
I went to a talk at the Heat Geek Theatre. So which was at Installer the day after, or 2 days after we met at unconference. And there was a gentleman that works for HSBC, like the green policy unit or something.
Yep.
His name might be Ian Stewart, because I've done a really quick Google search, and that's the name that popped up. And I stood up and I mentioned this spark gap, and I said to him, "You used to be in government. Now you're head of this powerful monetary fund, right? Why have we not solved it the way that I've just described?" And he starts going off on a tangent and saying, and I know there's lots of ideas, I've heard lots of ideas that have been floating out, but he didn't answer the question. He basically said, well, if we reduce the cost of electricity to those who have heat pumps, then we're punishing those who can't afford to have heat pumps. I was like, I don't want to do that. I want to reduce electricity for everyone, right? Everyone gets cheaper energy, but those on gas will still, unfortunately, be having this higher price, because that's the price of gas. Reduce the taxes on electricity, and then you would have then those people, even those people, would want to find a way. Maybe the poorest of society, we would still have to help out. Of course, I think that's our moral obligation to do. But most other people would be able to say, they'd see that cost in their head, and they say, hold on, if I install a heat pump, yes, there's an initial high cost, but then afterwards I'm paying 4 times less because it's super well designed and installed.
Well,
and then he's not thinking that way, and it's frustrating again.
I mean, obviously, the new government, hopefully, cross your fingers, hopefully will make some kind of change on that. But of course, you don't have to increase the price of gas. You could get you could fund these instead of. So we know that these taxes, the green taxes, are put on electricity, not onto gas, which is obviously crazy. So it could be that central government could suck up those taxes and just reduce the price of electricity and keep the gas the same. So you don't have to swap it. Don't have to make one more to make another one less if you have some central funding. But we'll see. And it's a long, thorny thing. What is good, of course, is that there are these tariffs. So in the last, I've had a heat pump now for a year, and I used a tariff that was 17p, not 28p. And
is that with Octopus? Like Octopus Go or some such?
That's it. Tracker, and lots of people do Agile, and there are lots of these deals. So that does help a lot. But yeah, the spark gap is just one of these annoying forever things that may or might not happen. You could say that the heat pump industry has been sort of, it's like we need to get our act together, and this is why all the whole efficiency thing, we've been driven over the last 3 years, obviously Heat Geek and others, driven to create efficiency, so that the efficiency of the heat pumps has gone up and up and up, not just because of installers, but also new units and better units. So now, we're trying to increase the efficiency of the heat pump and do better installs, and hopefully we'll be, in a sense, rewarded by having this low electricity price. It feels like we're being kind of pressured in maybe a good way to make sure we've got our house in order, by creating good efficient installs. But yeah,
I don't see it as a bad thing to upskill our workforce, the heating engineer, to be able to offer these sorts of better services. That can't be a bad thing to be better, right? So that's not something. One thing that I'm wondering though, obviously, the elections are on Thursday, so tomorrow. Elections are tomorrow.
Wow! Yes.
Make sure you vote, no matter which way you go. But a lot of the way that the news that I'm listening to, at least, and a lot of commentary is saying that Labour's going to win. Whether or not one would agree with that, that's fine. But do you think that Labour? To me, Labour hasn't announced anything new or exciting towards the heating market.
Yeah.
It seems to me that the heating market, maybe it's my perspective, but it seems to me the heating market is one of the most important places that we can reduce carbon, that we can reduce cost to customers, that we can give them more comfortable heating, which is more beneficial to them because it's low temperature. There doesn't seem to be any thought going towards that.
No.
And it's frustrating.
Sure.
And I know they've got financial constraints, but something should be said. And do you think, have I missed something? Do you think there is something more?
Obviously, that's across the board. Labour has just tried not to say anything. I mean, I've got my housemates here, tearing their hair out. They want to vote Labour, but they're finding it hard because it's such a damp squib across the board. Across the board on everything. So let's just hope that Labour gets more confident, and they got lots of power and think they can do something. But at the moment, they're just trying not to say anything about anything. The fear is that the boilers union, the gas infrastructure people who have got their hands on the gas infrastructure in this country, and of course the gas, if you compare the sizes, the gas industry is like a massive elephant and the heat pump industry is like a little mouse. That's the reality of the size of it. So they've got power, and they have been holding on, and they've been pressurizing, obviously, even though they're a union, they've been obviously they've got their teeth into the government, the last government, and they'll probably get their teeth into the new government as well. So that's a fear.
You mentioned at the end of unconference, as everyone was leaving, pretty much the minute before, you said we're about to get a new. I think it was you. We're about to get a new government. So if possible, let your MP know how important heat pumps are.
That was Richard Lowe's, wasn't it?
Okay, yeah. Oh, yeah, this was. So yeah, there was too many people in the room. I couldn't see who was talking. And I'm just wondering if whoever my local MP turns out to be, whether it's Conservative or Labour or something else, even if I was to meet them in the street and shake them by the hand and congratulate them, do you really think that they're going to listen to some little person on the street? Or are they going to listen to the guy who's in that meeting dressed in an impressive suit, I wonder how much we can make a difference to
Well, look,
this.
it depends. I mean, I've never written to my MP ever, but it was Richard Lowes from the
Mm,
Regulatory Assistant Project who was suggested that. And I think writing to MP is actually a really good idea. I've never done it, but I think it does put weight. Yes, because it's in writing. It's a letter. They are bound to keep it, to respond to it. It's there. It's a real thing, and it is better than just saying something on the street. Oh, hi, I want to do this. Um,
yeah,
so yeah, but I'd be a hypocrite to say that I'm going to write to my MP because I'm probably not. But
I have
I
written
think it is a
twice
good thing to
to
do.
my MP.
Hmm?
I've written twice to my MP.
Oh, well done.
The first time was I got a reply, but it was very obviously just copy
Mm,
paste that they were told that they had to send out. And
mm,
the second time I got no reply.
mm.
Apparently MPs get thousands of emails, and
Sure.
so I'm wondering, will they will they even see it?
Yeah. Well, that's where a handwritten letter, they've got to,
Yeah,
you know,
maybe.
when you. But okay, so it's not a bad idea to tell your MP, look, uh, heat pumps are obviously the future. We've got to get rid of gas. Please don't bow to lobbying from the gas industry. Um, there have been some changes. There's some changes even from the Tories, strangely.
Mm,
Um, so this chap called Callanan, Lord Callanan, who's an energy minister, a Tory energy lord, who's been doing some very good things around trying to make sure that hydrogen is history for home heating. He's a sensible chap. So he's been good. Obviously, there's Chris Kidsmore, who fell on his sword. He wrote this net zero, these big net zero
report.
documents, and is what he's saying, vote Labour.
Right.
So, in terms of because of energy, but as you say, Labour's been pretty bloody quiet on it. Uh, it's a
Well, I
it's
guess.
it's a very long,
Yeah.
arduous thing.
Yeah. I guess we will find out in the next couple of weeks as to how the policy will affect heat pumps, or the next couple of years, maybe,
Well,
depending
they're
on how
doing this
important it is.
GB Energy, aren't they, as well?
Yeah,
Which is we're not quite sure what it is.
what it exactly is.
Ed
Yeah.
Miliband, of course, was there in 2008. He was part of the whole push for wind farms in 2008, and that was a very, very brave move because back then wind farms were way expensive.
Yeah.
To say we've got to get more wind farms when in the teeth of
Yeah.
such economic situation. So he's a kind of a bit of a hero, really, from that time, and he's still
Mm,
there. So hopefully he will. But I
he's
guess
doing
he's been
something.
told to shut up in the last
Yeah.
couple of months. He
We
did
don't
actually
really
make
hear
a
much from him.
statement. He made a statement yesterday saying, "Oh, we've got to do
Okay.
more," but right at the last minute, basically. But
Right.
I reckon he was told, "Don't say too much," which is which is a bit pathetic, to be honest.
Yeah.
Um,
I wonder.
not of him, but of
It,
the Labour
yeah.
Party.
I feel like the energy companies are they're a bit like the big supermarkets, right? They tell the energy producers, the small wind farms around the country, they say this is what we're going to pay you. That's just the feeling that I get. And if there was a way to release those wind farms and say, I'm starting up a heat pump company. Wouldn't it be cool if I could say to my customers, I'm going to give you 100% renewable energy.
Yeah,
You're going to partner through me. You're going to partner up with this small company who's going to produce electricity and obviously stick it into the grid. You're going to buy electricity off the grid, but at the price that seller sells it to you, and
yeah,
will create a lot of um, small energy producers.
yes. Okay,
I don't
so
know how
this is
realistic that is,
but yeah, well, this
but
is a massive subject. I mean, I've tried to dig into it, but the whole grid, the balancing of the grid, the fluctuations, the grid it's very complicated. It's way beyond my understanding. I tried to find out, but I don't think it's technically very easy because of this whole frequency fluctuation of the 50 hertz. So I don't think you can't just plug into one. I think it's harder than that.
Yeah, no, of
And
course,
obviously
yeah.
politically it's hard because you want a fair price for all. Yeah, you don't want to just like some little group says, "Oh, we've got our cheap power." So it's tricky
Well,
politically
it's
and it's
starting.
tricky
I mean, in
technically.
a way, it's starting already. British Gas have said that they're going to be if you buy a heat pump through them, then they'll put you onto a tariff for the first year, I think, of 14 pence per
Yeah,
kilowatt hour.
yeah,
If you sign up with Octopus, then whatever their tariff is, cheaper tariff at these certain hours, right? Then you get those. So it's already.
yeah,
It's not the government doesn't really tell anyone, what they should be paying. And
yeah.
if you're stuck on an old British Gas tariff, then you're going to be paying a fortune. So I don't think it's so hard to say that that little companies can deal direct. But yeah, I have no idea about this industry. Andrew, are you still there? Because I can definitely hear you. I think we're coming to the end